5 signs you were emotionally neglected in childhood. Number 1, you have trouble understanding your emotions. If your feelings were ignored as a child, you never would have learned how to feel and how to express them in a healthy way. Instead of talking and supporting you, your parents may have ignored you and told you that it's not a big deal. And as a result, you may now find it hard to recognize the emotions you feel, let alone express them to others. Because when you was angry and your mom and your daddy told you it's not a big deal, you don't deserve to be angry. When you was sad and your parents told you to quit being so sad, go outside and play, and they didn't process that for you, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. If every time you felt something as a child, the grown-ups or the adults just said, that ain't nothing. That ain't important. Get over it. Get outside. Quit crying. What you crying for? There ain't no reason to cry. Then you don't know how to recognize your emotions. When you angry, you're going to suppress it. Because you don't deserve to be angry. When you sad, you're going to act like you're not sad. Because you ain't supposed to be sad. Here we go. Early emotional neglect in childhood played a role in developing alexithymia. That's deep. Come on, man. Played a role in developing alexithymia, which is when you experience difficulties in identifying and communicating your own emotional state. If you have difficulty understanding your own emotions, then you'll have a harder time coping and overcoming them as well. 5 signs you were emotionally neglected in childhood. Number 2, you avoid social situations. You don't like crowds. You don't like being around people. You don't like people around you. The home you grew up in becomes the foundation for the types of relationships you form. So he just came in. He's looking like he's gonna be a next potential resident. So everybody say hello. You want to introduce yourself to everybody real quick before I get on this?
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing, guys? My name is Jermaine, and looking to definitely get to know everybody, and look forward to it.
My name is Lee. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Josh.
How you doing?
All right. Nice. All right, so you avoid social situations. What we're talking about, the 5 signs you were emotionally neglected in childhood. And this is the kind of stuff we talk about all the time. The home you grow up in becomes the foundation for the types of relationships you form. And in childhood, the time spent with your parents is the time when you learn how to hold a conversation. You learn how to have a conversation with other people, but having conversations with your parents. So when you run in the house, come on, man. How many people raise some kids? And not a lot of y'all. I raised some kids, man. When they little, when they learn how to talk, man, they asking you everything. They got a million questions. But the only reason they got a million questions because they want to learn, man. Express your emotions and your opinions. Because the thing is, when you express your emotions to your family, they supposed to protect you when you do that. Am I right? Mm-hmm. If you express to your family that you sad, they supposed to protect you and find out why you sad and make sure it don't happen again. But if you feeling sad and somebody come over there and say, get that look off your face, express your emotions, your opinions. Your home is where you're supposed to feel comfortable to express your emotions, to express your feelings, to let your hair down. If you want to cry, you're supposed to cry at home and not feel ashamed. How many people was able to do that at home? No hands up. Okay, let's keep moving on. And have fun with others, because if you ain't have fun with your family, you didn't sit down and play board games. Come on. Y'all didn't sit down and play cards. Y'all didn't sit down and just joke with each other. Y'all didn't sit down and just have fun. Come on. That's where you learn how to have fun with other people. Learn it in your household first. That's the first teacher. Oh man. Y'all get it though, right? You learn how to have fun in your household. Don't you know some people grew up in a household, wasn't no fun allowed. Yeah, look at him. Yep, he's one. Wasn't no fun allowed. And if they heard you laughing, y'all better quit laughing in that room. Y'all like, quiet. And then somebody say something funny, y'all start laughing, and now granddaddy, grandmama, mama, or daddy coming in with a belt and whoop everybody. So if you experience neglect, your opportunity to learn how to socialize became neglected as well. Growing up without a sensitive and responsive caregiver who provides emotional support and security has negative effects on social functioning. This means as an adult, you may have become afraid of people and will try your best to avoid social gatherings in general. So if you couldn't even let your hair down in your own home, you're going to feel real out of place when you go out into the world. You can't even get comfortable at home. They make you feel weird at home. They make fun of you at home. They talk about you at home. They put you down at home. They criticize you at home. There ain't no way in the world you're going to be able to function outside in society. Ain't no way in the world you're going to be able to function outside in society. The Bible says when I was a child, I spake as a child. All those things you did as a child. But when I became a man, I put aside childish things. So you got to let a child be a child. Don't make them bad because they're not adults. 5 signs you were emotionally neglected in childhood. Number 3, you have low self-esteem. Y'all know what self-esteem is. We've been talking about it for a while. Self-esteem says how much I love me. Self-esteem ain't got nothing to do with your clothes. It ain't got nothing to do with your house. It ain't got nothing to do with your car. It ain't got nothing to do with your shoes. It ain't got nothing to do with how much money you got. All of that is outside of you. And it is not called us esteem. They never called it us esteem. I'm glad they don't call it us esteem. Because if you had to depend on somebody else to feel good, some of us would never feel good. And we got some people who's supposed to love us would never let us feel good if it was up to them. It's called self-esteem for a reason, because you don't need nobody's permission to love yourself. Anybody ever told you you need somebody else to love yourself? That's a lie. Because number 1, you can't give away what you don't have. And you can't show love to other people if you don't have love for yourself first. And even if you're showing love to people and you don't have no love for yourself, imagine how much more love you can show when you start loving yourself. Because basically, if you're going through life with low self-esteem, you just riding through life with the emergency brake up. You can still drive. How many people done drove with the emergency brake up before? You finally put the emergency brake down, like, oh man, you put the emergency brake down? Now it takes off? That's the difference between low self-esteem and high self-esteem. A person with low self-esteem driving through life with the emergency brake up. You're getting through life, but it's harder. You put that emergency brake down, that means you developed your self-esteem. As a child, you are completely dependent on your parents, and they are here to teach you not only about the world, but also about yourself. And this way, you end up internalizing your parents' ideas and values and making them your own. And when your parents neglect and ignore you, they're sending you a message that you don't matter. This is where your self-image and self-esteem may have been damaged. And as you grow older, you end up carrying these feelings with you as you go through life. As an adult, you may neglect taking care of yourself due to feelings of inadequacy. That's just low self-esteem. That's parents who wasn't teaching you the value of yourself. Because if you think, if your child feels depressed, I'm just going to go get her hair done, or I'm just going to go buy him some outfit so he can go to school tomorrow and floss on the other kids, you ain't building no self-esteem. You're teaching them to compensate for having low self-esteem by buying stuff. And that ain't going to help them in real life. Because they're going to be a grown adult, life all messed up, everything falling down. Everything a problem in their life. They think that all they got to do is go buy some shoes. Number 4, you try to please everybody. You're a people pleaser. You are a people pleaser. And let me say this before we even get started. You can't be all things to everybody, so don't even try. You can't be all things to everyone, even if you try. With that said, children who grow up in emotionally neglected households often have to pay attention to their parents' emotions instead of their own. So you got a child walking on damn eggshells in a house with a grown-up who's supposed to love them. With that said, children who grow up in emotionally neglected households often have to pay attention to their parents' emotions instead of their own. And if they had to walk on eggshells to constantly make sure to never upset or anger their parents, they may have grown up to become a people pleaser. This can mean being afraid of rejection or abandonment, being preoccupied with what others think and feel, and becoming fearful of saying no because you don't want to appear mean or to hurt others' feelings. But this can eventually take a toll on your mental health and leaving you stuck in relationships where you give more than you take. And you're going to find yourself in relationships where you're being used, where you're in relationships and you accept the fact that you're in a relationship with a person. You accept that because you was conditioned as a child to accept that. Because if you weren't worthy enough for your parents, why would you be worthy enough for anybody else? That's the thinking here. That you with somebody, even if they nice to you a little bit, they expect you to do a whole lot for that. They expect you to put a whole lot in this situation. Yeah, they might be nice sometimes. You might be able to spend a little bit of time with them all the time, but they're getting far more out of this arrangement than you. That's not a friendship, and that's not a relationship. If somebody uses you, that's not your friend. They might be a family member, but that don't make them a friend. You eventually become overworked because you've taken on too much responsibility, or you become exhausted and burned out from trying to take care of everyone else. 5 signs you were emotionally neglected in childhood. The final one, number 5, you feel unexplained resentment towards your parents. Sometimes parents are not intentionally neglectful. They may provide a roof above your head, access to education, food on the table, but as much as they're able to provide you with all the material things you need, they may have forgotten that you need love as well. As a result, when you grow up, you may feel unexplained anger or resentment towards them. Maybe you avoid them or never visit them. You may even become confused as to why you feel the way you feel. After all, you can't say they deprived you of basic human needs or abused you. Some people can. Some people were abused though. But even if you didn't recognize the emotional neglect they put you through, you may have felt it and knew something was missing, and you still feel it today, even if you're not sure how to explain it. You got to accept people for who they are, man, not who you wanted them to be. Parents aren't perfect. Most parents, all parents, man, they working with what they were taught. And they're going to learn a lot as they go. Am I right, those of us who parents? So a lot of times when you have children, you got to mature with your kids. And I don't think kids really understand that your parents might have been 18 when you was born. That's what I'm trying to say. Forgiveness, man, don't carry that stuff in your heart, you know, because a lot of that stuff comes from our childhood. But I want you to, today, what I want you to do is forgive your parents or whoever raised you. I don't care if it was your grandmama, your granddaddy, big mama, whoever, your uncle, your auntie, whoever. They did the best they could. And I ain't trying to take up for nobody. And I ain't trying to explain nothing away or excuse nothing for nobody. I'm just trying to help you. That if you can forgive them today, regardless of what they did, forgive them and move on with your life, it's going to free you up. And what it's going to take is a brick off of your chest.